Thanks for having me here and giving this opportunity to speak about some of the work we're doing in South Africa, so a bit beyond just London, with some of the technologies around IoT, moving toward analytics, machine learning. And so I'll just get right into the presentation because I'll basically cover all that ground. Okay, so basically what we are going to speak about today is, firstly, who are we as a business? What work are we doing within the poultry sector? Perhaps a little view in terms of the poultry industry in South Africa, the product we're developing, using some of the technologies, and perhaps just a bit of insight into the actual MVP that we developed or in the process of developing and some of the processes around that. Okay, so my name is Michael Sampson. As Simon introduced me earlier, I am the founder of Omniolytics. Our background is effectively in IT telecoms, where I worked across London, as well as South Africa with leading telecom providers, and sort of the business end, looking at how we deploy technologies. I researched IoT a few years ago to deploy in a total different sector, until I spoke to a friend that was studying agriculture, and I could see a beautiful match between the manner in which the processes run and science behind agriculture, and a lot of what IoT and associated technologies could help deliver within this particular sector. Okay, so the poultry industry. In South Africa, it's the largest sector of the agriculture industry. It's valued at roughly 3.1 billion euro. However, that said, it is under intense duress at the moment. South Africa as a whole are net importers of poultry. So we produce less than what we consume. That is also complicated by trade agreements, for example, with the US, with Europe, where a lot of poultry is imported, especially lower value portions of chicken, which makes it even far more difficult for local poultry producers to produce at a sustainable level. Now, the industry in itself has looked at things around technology to see how do we actually make poultry producers more efficient, how do we reduce the risk, how do we look at getting production levels up in a more efficient manner. Now, there have been epidemics, such as in 2017, when we had the avian flu epidemic, which had an impact of 62.5 million euro, or the equivalent of, within one single year. Now, that particular problem wasn't unique to South Africa. That was a problem which was across the globe, including within Europe. So preventative measures, for example, in that at an early stage could have helped reduce that. So what we are venturing and what we're in the process of doing and engaging with the local market is saying, how do we use technologies such as IoT to be able to reduce such losses and help improve efficiencies? Okay, so within the industry, there's 4 particular areas that we focus on in terms of outputs. One is to improve animal welfare. With that, what we do get is a reduction in mortality. So farmers have more chickens alive at the end of the cycle. Improving growth rates and feed conversion rates, as well as digitizing and connecting the value chain. Okay, so what are some of the challenges that are experienced within the industry? One is getting insights into what's happening at any point in time in the operations, in real time. It's the capability to actually understand problems, get to the root causes of problems, to understand what are anomalies, how do they prevent problems from happening, and also to understand the actual science behind it. It's a very scientific and process-driven operation within poultry, especially within commercial poultry. There are very low the tolerance windows for failure. So if those tolerance windows are exceeded, it's not just a matter of potentially losing a few of the animals. There could be an entire flock that gets affected, and that has a huge financial impact. And more so, if you look at the entire value chain around poultry, it's a huge value chain. Besides rearing chickens, there's hatcheries, there's a retail side, there are processing plants. And so to moving that information and getting visibility into that is one of the challenges that exist within the industry. I'd like to speak to you a bit about OmniFarm. This is the platform that we are currently developing to help address some of these. What we do is, at source, look at digitizing the environmental conditions within broiler houses. So the environmental conditions by themselves is effectively what helps farmers throughout a cycle ensure that they get the best product at the end of that cycle. So having visibility into those conditions and being able to pick problems up at an early stage helps with that whole cycle in terms of the productivity levels. Thereafter is to give farmers that visibility, to give them tools to let them know when there are problems. At an early stage, get notified. We have the visible aspects, have dashboards. So we built a platform that gives them that visibility through a web browser and in the process of building an application so that they can access the operational environments in real time. The next phase of our operation is to look at building intelligence into understanding what that process should look like. So how do we identify anomalies? How do we classify what's wrong before that happens? How do we look at forecasting performance improvements and potentially problems that may occur? And around that, we're looking at a lot of the analytics, machine learning models to be able to build that intelligence into the cycle through the cloud platform. And then finally, looking at the entire value chain once it's digitized, the same as Ashley mentioned earlier, using a concept around health scores and how do you pick that up and distribute that in a secure manner to several different stakeholders within that value chain. So with OmniFarm, the platform, we're looking at addressing all of these, from giving visibility to understanding problems when they happen, to looking at predictive analysis around problems, and then also to see how we connect all these value chain stakeholders. What I do want to do now is just give you a slight snapshot into the platform, what we have, and it ties into what gentleman from IBM and Tech Data mentioned earlier. With IoT, it's not necessarily just having a load of data. It is, what do you do with that data? How do you actually derive certain insights from that data? So I'm just going to flip this over to the screen on the side so I can just give you a snapshot of a part of a cycle that we monitor using IoT technology. Can you just put it on here? I just need it on the screen, please. So on this we have, on the upper part here, we are measuring CO2, ammonia levels. And at the bottom part, we are measuring things like pressure, temperature, humidity, air pressure. And we overlay that with figures around weight, figures around mortality, so that those real-time values against what the performance, the key performance factors are. Those are things around your mortality rates, things around your growth rates, effectively as a foundation product to see how those overlap. With the analytics at the next phase, we're going to look at this process and then give insights into how do we prevent and where are the spikes, how do we prevent those spikes? And that will be the next stage of the development cycle. So this, as I said, basically gives just insight into using the IoT data. So some of the orange and the purple spikes, those are actual records that we get from sensors that we have placed in an actual broiler house. And we place these at 3 different sections to be able to get uniformity and to be able to detect issues at different locations and get those early. So this is effectively just an insight into some of the data that we're gathering at the moment. Okay, so that covers effectively what it is around what we're doing. Now, I just want to give you a bit of insight into the journey to date and how come I'm standing here today and the support I've received thus far. Okay, so of the challenges, all of those I've experienced, from getting sensors, getting them at a good price, getting reliability around sensors, the whole ecosystem around being able to manage these devices. One of the reasons I've reached out to Kenton was because of all those challenges. My first point on call was to get very high-end sensors that was plug and play because I wanted reliable data. To date, I haven't experienced that. I've had quite a bit of problems with the sensors I had, even though I paid quite a sort of top-end price for those. So the journey to date. In 2016, I initially had a concept around using IoT. And through Kenton, I had a bit of kit that I could actually go and show clients, as opposed to speaking to them about the concept. Through those conversations, I managed to agree a POC with a commercial farm, which then led to a large organization, an innovation agency within South Africa, looking at supporting us in getting sensors. From that, we could build a strong enough business case and use case with the help of IBM, then receive funding as well as support to be able to build a full-end MVP, which is still in the process of doing at this stage. With that, we have started discussions and active discussions with some of the lead research organizations, private industry, as well as government agencies in terms of how we're going to take the IoT as well as analytics and effectively look at deployments within these agencies. And there's huge interest around that. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Michael. Interesting journey. So, Kenton, yeah, very simple question, like how did you get to us with this project?
So, hi, it's actually good morning, because it's still morning in England. I met Simon, when did I, it was Yuri, I think, from our Czech office, introduced us initially. He was the Czech office, got us talking. I'm from Tech Data. I'm in the IoT Analytics Cognitive Business Unit at European level. And my job really is to work with partners, ecosystems, bring solutions to market. And I think that's where we started this journey. I've got some slides to talk through, yeah? Where is the thing? Here we go. Right, a refresh. We've heard a couple of people talk about solutions aggregation. We do it at scale. We're a $36 billion business worldwide, working with all the big ugly vendors like Microsoft and IBM present in the room today, but also working with smaller guys. Our mission in life is to get to that far right-hand corner, which is where Michael sits today. He's out there talking about industry solutions and industry problems with the chicken farms in South Africa and relying on effectively a tech data solution aggregator role to bring the right technologies together and deliver them in the right way. And we can do that with commercial models, but also technical architect models. So I work as a pre-sales solutions architect, so I'm there to support and work with our partners as they go through. And the relationship with you guys is that a lot of the stuff we do is maker, almost. It's getting into POCs quickly, getting stuff available, then getting it to market quickly and going out as well. So you fit on our left-hand side. That's what we see as the basic 6 building blocks of an end-to-end solution in this space. And we try and work with different vendors and ecosystem partners on a journey to get to the business outcome on the far right there. So how do we do that? Teams that we've got. Press it again. There you go, click. So we kind of work around, I think Andres mentioned earlier on about industries. So we have our 4 focus industries with transport logistics, which is where I sit. And transport logistics, we really distill it down, is really understanding assets, where they are at any given time, the health of the asset. So it's tracking, it's real-time location services. Then we're into smart spaces, very relevant. What Ashley was talking about earlier, we need to possibly have a follow-up conversation later today. Smart spaces, manufacturing, and retail as our 4 core areas. And we have people like me in each of those industries that will work with our business partners. And we provide those top-level consultancy and architect skills. We'll build, I think the solutions factory was mentioned earlier on, is where we'll actually pre-integrate certain components. So we'll take sensors, we'll take gateways, we'll work with some of you guys and come up with an architecture that works all the way into the IBM back-end system and systems integration from then on. And then we can go to market. So an interesting thing that we're going to be doing, hopefully, with Michael here when he gets it ready and up and running, is that we will... at the present moment in time, he's a reseller partner of ours, specialist partner in his industry. We're providing potentially technology and consultancy perhaps and services to him. He can go through a full life cycle journey. So he can actually become a vendor to us as part of our ecosystem. We would then go to market with his solution across our reach, our customers. And this is the sort of thing we're trying to put together around collateral for these guys. There's a line item there that we're putting together. These are standard collateral items that we put our solution factory stamp on. So it's kind of underwritten a little bit by tech data and by the vendors we bring in. This one currently, you can see there's a number of IQRF elements on there clearly. We've also got the IoT platform from IBM. Watson will become part of what we're doing here around the machine learning and the cognitive side. I've put Cognos Analytics, that's the next piece, is to start using more of the services from IBM. But we'll put this kind of thing together. These one-page use case pieces. They go up onto our Solution Center websites and are available to our partners. We'll put a commercial model that takes all of the elements on the bottom of that candidate architecture together for the use case, and you can procure that through tech data. We also put together, actually I want to touch on one of the things there, frugal innovation. Ashley touched on it this morning. Everybody we talk to in the IoT space right now is looking to use this terminology, this frugal innovation, which is really playing to your strengths. It's about using technology to do more with less. It's about optimizing and bringing forward. And we're seeing that more and more in our customer conversations. My last slide is just a battle card, as we call it, which is what we also give to our resellers. So once we've got this solution on our solution factory, we then would produce this kind of collateral. So our reseller partners can go and get us into trouble. We then follow up and bring the expert partners in as part of the ecosystem. And that's all I had.
Okay, thanks. No, you give it to Danny. No, I don't need that. Do you have Kenton? Can I get that toy small? Yeah, thanks. So I just like a very, very short part of myself before Zdeněk gets ready. Actually, Kenton came to me like, hey, like we need someone who would actually help Michael with the hardware, let's say with the gateway and the sensors. So that's where we like introduced the company IQRF Solutions, which is like really company providing, let's say, management services to the companies like Michael, where we can put together the team of the IQRF Alliance members, put them under one, let's say, roof, and deliver the whole project. So Michael doesn't have to like talk to 5, 6, 7 companies depending on the scale of the project, right? So this was the role of the IQRF solution. So we really spent some time on like really understanding what's the project about, what could be the technology used there, what would be the connectivity from the gateway up to the cloud, right? So we prepared a project proposal. We put together the team. This time mainly like Yotio is used for building up the sensors for us as a design house. And actually then we kick it off once you got the funds from IBM. And yes, so development started. It's some time ago, but we already have some samples here of the hardware and of the sensors. So this is what Zdeněk is going to introduce right now.
Hi, thank you for introducing me. My name is Daniel Kolář, and I'm from Teotech. In Teotech, we are IoT design house and consulting company. Pardon. And and consulting company. And what's mean that we are design house? We can take every part of your project. That means from the hardware to the clouds and make the concept. In this project, actually, we are designing the hardware, and it's three types of the hardware. It's a water quality sensor, air quality sensor, and the last one is bridge, communication bridge. All those devices battery operated, and the first one is a water quality sensor. This sensor measures temperature of the water, ORP and pH of the water. Actually, we have a sample, so it's this box with connected industry probe that directly mounted to the water pipe system and can measure continuously data about your water quality. Next sensor is air quality sensor that measuring temperature, ammonia, relative humidity, carbon dioxide, and atmospheric pressure. And all the devices have all devices have common parts. Those common parts is IQRF transceiver that's need for communication. The next one, as I said, is a battery. If we have a battery operate devices, we must know what's the related time to the end of the battery state. So we have a battery management. The next things is some user interface. Because if you need some make some operation, for example, bounding to the network and much more, you need to make some procedure with the hardware. In our devices, we have a waterproof concept. It's IP67, and we hate mechanical switch. So we use a magnet, and every operation with this device is doing through the magnet and by RGB LID. One common thing is RTC. It's a hardware real-time clock, and maybe it should be used for some special cases. For example, if you want in your network make one things on all devices at one time, you need to directly set, for example, in Monday at 7 a.m., wake up and do some operation. That's the one reason why we use hardware real-time clock. The next thing is you send some data. For example, I measure the temperature is 27 degrees of Celsius. I know it at the moment when I'm sending the temperature. And only at this moment, I know that it's at some specific time. But later, I hope that someone added the timestamp to this data. And I think that this is wrong. We add the correct timestamp when we measure this value and send it through the network with this information together. So, and next thing is IQRF Smart Connect to easy deployment. I think that this is all from me, and
so I'm back. So actually, another breach is that guys from Yoti are really like a design house, right? They don't want to focus their, let's say, their skills and capabilities on a mass production. But on the other side, there are other members in the alliance that they can do it, and one of them is MicroRisk. So Jan will tell us like what they can do for us as a community in matter of manufacturing.
Yes, thank you, Simon, for introducing, and let me, ladies and gentlemen, add the missing small piece of puzzle to this project, to this puzzle game. Very briefly about the company, who we are, and I'm sure that most of you know company MicroRisk. We are on the market almost 30 years. We can say that we are the origin of IQRF, and actually all of the teammates of the IQRF solutions and IQRF tech company come originally from MicroRisk. We are the founding member of the IQRF Alliance, and we focus on innovative development and manufacturing, which we can prove on many use cases or many products that we are already producing or manufacturing for our partners, from heavy industry through entertainment, lighting, lifestyle, or facility management, for example. But what is our role in this project? As Simon already noted, we are very happy to cooperate with Yoteo guys on the development and IQRF integration to their products. Moreover, I'm more and more happy that we agreed that we should be the ones to manufacture their devices and use our skills for the product certifications or any other necessary steps to make it run. And actually, that's what we can offer to any of you and any of the IQRF Alliance members or any other customers. We are currently increasing our production capacities. So yes, we are here. If you need our skills, our capacities, or our help with your projects, just approach us. And that's all from me.
Cool. Thanks. Any question from the audience? Maybe just a formal question. I don't know. From my side, like guys, just very quickly, if we can go, let's say through the next steps that you plan to do. So maybe starting with you, Michael, right? So what's, let's say, the plan for next year, and then maybe the guys, what would be your role in that project?
So thank you, Simon. The next steps is to look at building analytics and machine learning around the processes. Then to also look at how we use the hardware that we're developing, especially in South Africa. It's very difficult getting an ecosystem such as what IQRF Alliance allows, and also within a reasonable sort of cost with the management as well as the support structures in place. So it's to effectively look at building on this relationship and to making sure the key components are built into the solution, and effectively using relationships with Tech Data as well as IQRF Alliance to take that product to market, both within South Africa as well as to other sort of areas beyond just South Africa. Okay, great. Kenton, maybe like a short-term role, because I think long-term is really to take the Michael solutions and then like sell it like worldwide, right? But how you can help in the process of the project?
I think the Tech Data role here is that aggregator. So it's bringing all the different components that you guys are putting together to table at once is kind of where we are. We're going to have a conversation tomorrow about how we go to the more strategic piece, about how you market it broader. I mean, it's a huge market worldwide, and there's an opportunity here. Okay. But short term, it's pull it together.
All right, thanks. Zdeněk?
So we are actually in some state of development, and we need to test this device in the real place, and after that, go to market.
All right. Do we have any broiler houses here in Czech Republic where you can put it, or?
It's really interesting, maybe, yes.
All right.
Yeah, maybe we can approach our Prime Minister, right?
Right. Yes.
He's having some such farms. Yeah, actually, we are here to help with the production, with the development, as I know it. That's our mission of our company.
Okay. Thank you, guys.